I talk a lot about what you should do as an NCA candidate. I thought that I would make this video a bit more interesting and talk about some of the things that you shouldn't do as an NCA candidate. I have a whole list, but I have picked up the three most important ones. So if you're interested, keep watching. Thing that it's just my recommendation. Again, you can do whatever you like. But my first recommendation is that you should not always complain about being a foreign law graduate. I've seen that a lot, and this is very common. I think it's okay to talk about how difficult it is and how hard the process is, and I've done that in a lot of my videos. I think it's okay to just present yourself in a way that you have had a hard time looking for work, but for when you're talking to a potential employer, or if you ask somebody out on a coffee, you don't want to waste 30 minutes talking about how hard it is and how unfair the system is, because you're stating a problem but you're not telling the employer how to solve it, and that's something that does not create a good impression. Again, I'm not saying that you can't acknowledge how hard it is for you to integrate into a new system. That's fine, but to a potential employer, I'm not sure if it's a good idea to just talk about how unfair the system is and how you can't find a job and how you can't really do anything about it. So in my personal opinion, I've had some people ask me for coffees and then they've just complained about how they can't find a job. I mean, I understand it and I can sympathize with that as well, but when you are talking to people, this is your time to actually get to know them and to present yourself in a way where people want to know you as well. So again, my recommendation is that it's okay to state the hardships, but it's not a good idea to just keep complaining about it and that's all you talk about. The second thing that I feel that a lot of NCA's candidates should not do is be too submissive. I've seen this in a lot of students, and I think that when I was new here, I did that too. You kind of just always think that you'll just take everything that you get, which is fine. You're looking for experience and that's fine, but you don't have to be too submissive in terms of when you go to your workplace or whatever you're doing. You can't just always be what other people want you to be. You need to have your own personality too, and you need to step up for things that you think are right for you as well. So for instance, for example, just giving you an example here, so sometimes, and hopefully that changes, sometimes people also offer unpaid articling positions. Now, those of you who don't know what articling is training. It's pretty much when a lawyer trains the students, and a lot of students just take it just because they need the experience. I was also offered an unpaid articling position, but I didn't take it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I mean, if that's your only option available, fine. But at the same time, you don't want to be too submissive in terms of, why would you want to take up a position that is not paying you anything at all when there are other positions? If you don't take a stand at that moment, because that's not right. And this is something that should not be done. So a lot of NCA candidates, I feel like, are a little bit more submissive. They don't really stand up for certain things that are just not right. So again, my recommendation here, I know it's hard because you're in a new country, you're looking for experience, you'll do anything that comes at the door, but at the same time, you also want to make sure that, you are a lawyer and you're going to be becoming a lawyer, and you can't really just do things that are not good in general. So yeah, I mean, this is something that I've noticed, and I would love to see people take a stand and just be who they are and not take up things that are unfair. The last thing that you shouldn't do as an NCA candidate is, and this is for people who have extensive work experience in their hometowns. I didn't have any experience before I moved to Canada, so this wasn't that relevant to me, but I saw it and I saw a lot of people go through this, and sometimes people who have very extensive work experience in their hometown, they tend to just stick to that and not change some of the ways that they're used to doing things. So And I've seen that a lot when I worked with different types of people with different experience level, that some people are just rigid in what they think is right because of the way that they were trained in their hometown, which is fine. I think there's nothing wrong with it, but I think you should be a little bit more flexible when it comes to practicing law in a different jurisdiction. There are certain things that you need to follow. For instance, let's just talk about communication. In North America, you communicate in a very different way than you would communicate in other parts of the world. So if you don't pick up on different styles of communication, if you don't pick up on these things and you're too rigid in terms of the way that you want to do things, it might not be good for your growth. You'll still make it, but at the same time, you have to think about what type of a lawyer do you want to be? If you just want to be somebody who will do things that you think is okay and the way that you're used to doing things, then that's fine. That's the kind of lawyer you will be. But if you really want to integrate into the society and be somebody who will learn and evolve, you can, again, my recommendation is you be a little bit more flexible, and just explore how things are done here. And maybe you could come up with a better way of doing it, but you still have to be open to exploring this. If you're an NCA student who would like to share something else, please feel free to do it. You can talk about it in the comment section below. I really appreciate people who comment and talk about what they think and engage with other NCA students, because I think this is the community that I would like to build, where people actually talk about these things as opposed to just figuring it out on their own. When I did the process, a lot of things I figured out on my own. So I think it's good to have a community where people help each other out, and yeah, that's what I like to do. And if you think that this is good, please do comment below and share your experiences.